How are we all feeling after the 3-day moon? Full moon, super moon. I mean, for in its fullness for 3 days, that was huge. Still working through the energies of it myself. And as always, we always do a bit of a share after these powerful moons and experiences that happen cosmically, because there's much to be understood and embodied and healed when these big pockets of energy come through. There's no shadow of a doubt that spirit and energy is just so on our side, because all of the craziness that we're going through right now. I mean, you know, are you going to look at as the cup half full or half empty? Are you going to look at it as the world is ending, or is in fact the world beginning? I know I'm team world beginning, because for anything to come into newness, you have to go through some level of hardship. It's the biggest initiation that I think the planet has ever seen, and that's what we're going through right now. So in fact, the glass is half full, because as we purge and as we are so assisted by spirit and Mother Moon, she comes now and doesn't just bring us a super moon. She brings us like a full moon for 3 days, last super moon of this year. So it's like the biggest purge. I knew it was going to be big. I think we all knew it was going to be big. I mean, any full moon being in its fullness for 3 days, one's usually enough for me. And I'm usually face down in the flowers, you know, not doing well at all. And then I arise and I'm like, oh, feeling better now. 3 days though. Bit of a different story. So on the Thursday, which was when the fullness was in, the full moon was in wholeness in a big way, on the Thursday, the 7th of May, I held a group, my Zoom group, had the biggest cup of cacao ever, which just opened my heart like, oh my God, I don't think I've experienced my heart to expand that much, especially holding this powerful group, like warriors in that group, on the full moon. And I remember saying, oh my God, I feel like my heart center is about to explode. Well, it kind of did, because I've put my shoulders out for the whole weekend. I have been in agony. I've not been able to walk, sleep, or anything. It's right in the center of my shoulder blades. It's an old energy pain I've had for many years. It's directly where my heart center is, but at the back. So I know exactly what's going on here. Went through a big expansion, and it's pushed loads of old energy out of my physical body, and I'm still purging it now. How did I do that and put my shoulders out? I'd like to lie and say I was doing a push-up challenge, or I was in my exercise mode, but I wasn't. I was actually reaching for an oracle card, and I just reached across my desk and I put my shoulders out. Oh my God. Do you know how embarrassing this is, being an exercise specialist, these words coming out of my mouth? Anyway, that's how I did it. And I've been in agony since. It's been really bad. So then the Saturday it got very bad as well. And I ended up having, like, apart from physical body purging, I purged. So I was vomiting as well. So I was getting everything out in every corners of me. Do you know what I mean? I haven't been able to move the whole weekend, but I've been understanding exactly what it's all about. I mean, this whole experience with all the craziness out there, it's such a good thing, because we need to purge this nonsense. We need to get all of this out of us, because we are not, the world is not ending. The world is beginning, and I'm so happy to be on this crazy train, even though it's very, very crazy right now. But it's beginning, and God damn it, I'm gonna purge that shit out of my body if this is what it means. Thanks very much. So I'm happy to go along with ease and grace. Did you hear that, Spirit? Ease and grace, please. Not too much of this ease and grace of purging and releasing and letting go, because you do for one, you do for all. Okay. So with that, I just want to now step into this whole wanting to give up, because this weekend, obviously being so sick, I was just like, I don't know how much more I can do of this. I don't know how much more I want to do of this. I had a bit of a victim moment this weekend. And not so long ago, I did a channel journey to a sacred mountain, and we walked up the steps, which in physicality, the sacred mountain exists in Egypt, and it's Mount Sinai, and you go pilgrimage all the way up the steps, all the way up the side of the mountain, and you get led by the stars. It's quite beautiful. And then you get to the top of the mountains, and 6 a.m. you do this amazing meditation. So, and it's all about peace. So this meditation, as I was channeling it through, was about going up these steps, of which in real terms there are many, and we collapsed and we cried, and then we carried on going in the meditation, we collapsed and you cried, and then I remember going, and you collapse, and I thought, no. And then the channel picked up again, and it said, well, you're 4 steps away from the top of the steps. And I thought in that moment, isn't that interesting? That even in my channel, we'd basically collapsed and just gone into complete desperation and just can't go on anymore. But in the journey, as I looked up, we were 4 steps from actually getting to the top of the mountain and sitting in there, experiencing the sunrise, and ultimately activating that peace within us. And I thought, isn't that funny how we always give up right at the end? Runners do it. I mean, hikers do it. We all do it. And I'm going to use another example of this. I've moved to Cape Town, and 5 years I chased my ID book. And without that ID book, you're nowhere. You know, you can't do anything. And you certainly don't feel like you belong anywhere. So you're feeling like a bit of a nomad. Anyway, I went to the Home Affairs, which, by the way, if anybody lives in Africa or anything like that, shit. So I went there again and again and again. Nothing. Told me to stop bothering them and all the rest of it. The day I gave up, okay, was the day that they issued me with the booklet. However, the day I gave up, I didn't go back there for a whole year. And I went back there and I was like, look, guys, you really need to give me my permit, my booklet. And they were like, well, it's been here for a year. And then when I looked at the date, I remember the date, it was just before Christmas. I gave up. And I was like, wow. So this booklet had been sat there for a whole year and I didn't know. And there I was going through this hardship, not being able to start businesses or bank accounts or anything. All of this struggle when it was an illusion. And I couldn't have got that booklet in my hand prior. I beat myself up about it. Said I should have had that booklet. If only I'd gone back. But I wasn't meant to, because I needed to understand the energy of resistance. And actually how it plays out to the point that you make your life a lot harder when you didn't need to. Had I just been calm with the process and had patience and done everything with ease and grace, I would have probably just tootled in the following week and gone, oh, it's here. But instead I had a tantrum mode and going, it's useless, I can't do this anymore. And I had a give up mode, which I did. And as a result, my booklet was sat there for a year and I sat in a nightmare for a year when I didn't have to. So that was very, very interesting that I went through that for teaching purposes also, as well as myself. So it's about giving up at the 11th hour when you're so close. And the darkest before dawn, we've all heard that, the darkest hour is before dawn, meaning you get to the darkest point just before the sun rises and then you're over it, and this is where we are, people. So I think this is like a video blog for, this was a big full moon we've just been through. So it's probably had most of us on our knees, and so it should, because when it gets intense and when it gets really hard, it means that we're just around the corner from something big where you're going to go, I've always said this is an initiation, a very powerful initiation. It goes through challenge and then you go into the light and then you go into expansion. It is part of the ebb and flow. It's the natural order of life that we go into constriction, we go into expansion, we go into constriction, we go into expansion. Your lungs do it. My thighs are doing it at the moment, but I'm fat, but I'm going to be thin again just now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, your muscles do it. The sun rises, it sets. Do we ever fear that the sun is never going to rise again? Of course not. It's going to rise. We know it is. Do we ever fear that the leaves are falling off the trees? Oh my God, what if the trees don't grow leaves again? But we know they will. And this is exactly the same. We go through these hardships. We then find the light. And then guess what? As a period, as being a being of growth, you will go into it again where you'll go through hardship and you'll go through expansion. Hardship, expansion. It's just how it is. So don't lose faith. Now, one more thing I want to share with you, which actually happened over this weekend, which is really, really important. I share you the message of medicine. I share you the message of the hawk show you the message of hawk. They are always in my garden. I've blogged a lot about how they've actually come and flown past my office window and just killed squirrels on the grass. It's just, it's a little bit like Game of Thrones or the Hunger Games in this garden, especially at these powerful, energetic times. David Attenborough would have a field day in this garden. It's just nuts. It really is. Anyway, here I am. And I'm actually stood there in my garden and I see this big bird right down there up against the fence flapping around. I get close and it's a hawk, and the hawk jumps onto the branch right in front of me. We stare eye to eye and I'm like, hello, little guy, what do you want? Anyway, I thought he'd broken his wing. No, he's quite fine. But then he goes to fly off. and then hits the fence. And I think what happened, because I kind of live in the forest, he got stuck and he didn't realize that if he just goes over around that way, he'll get above the fence and over, but it's very overgrown with trees. My Maine coon cat came flying in, wanted to kill it. So there I am holding space, screaming, and I saved this hawk. And eventually I'm like trying to keep the cat off, so I'm holding space. And then this hawk just finds its way, finds the blue sky, and off he flies. There was an illusion of being stuck, because the fence was an illusion. Okay, once he saw like all that struggle, he just needed to calm down, and then and not be eaten by the cat, and then he just flew out. But that hawk and me had a thing going on. We had another conversation, and then when I called in the consciousness of the hawk to help me, because you call in the hawk consciousness to help you break through the next level, and that's what I did. I called him in and I said, please assist me in coming into the next level and just busting the roof off, because I need to get up to the next level, because I'm just feeling like I'm going through a lot right now. I'm happy to walk through it, but I need to go on to the next level. So I called in the consciousness of hawk. Then I had the interaction with him in the garden. Then I started vomiting. And then when I sat in the garden after all this had happened, and I started to talk to my husband, and he started to just almost spiritually counsel me on what had gone on and just help me move through it. Not lying, this hawk just circled above me, squawking. Just above us, just squawking, and then just flew off. And it was just like, so there's been a lot of support from Mother Earth and the animal kingdoms and everything like that to support my message of faith. Don't give up. Don't let go on the last minute and just fail, because there's failures. That's also illusion. There is no fail. Have a rest when it gets hard. Be loving to yourself. So much love and compassion for me and my sore shoulders. I'm moving through it, even though it's been tough. I'm moving through it with ease and grace. And the messages from spirit and the messages from medicine have been so powerful. Why? Because I'm listening. Yay! You can hear all the angels applauding and just going, oh, finally. So I'm listening. And, you have to understand, I just want to leave you with this, that everything you go through, if you're being challenged, if you're in the dark night of the soul, okay, it's because you're going to find the light switch just now. And don't give up, because that means if you really are in those depths, that means a breakthrough is about to occur. And it might be individually or personally, collectively, if we hold this thought and hold this space, like I did for the hawk, so my cat wouldn't eat it, kind of thing. Well, that's quite symbolic, isn't it? But like current times. But you see what I'm saying? If we hold this space, we can just one more push and we'll be there. And we will be there. So, message from deep love from me to you. I hope you're resting, because the full moon was big. Be gentle with yourselves. Love yourselves. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Love.